Welcome to the Wheel of Not Ideal. Today we'll be cooking scrambled eggs. Oh, fuck. Using only mugs and glass cups.
Yeah. All right.
I can use as many of them as I want, just can't use anything but a mug or a cup.
Because I mean, the first problem that we're going to run into is I don't know what the heat rating of this glass is.
I mean, it's not Pyrex.
Right. So either we just say, F it, we ball, and we just cook it on the stovetop, or we look it up and be smart about it.
No, there's no fun in that.
Right.
Off the camera, maybe we should look it up.
Okay. The next problem we're going to run into is how to scramble the eggs. So I was like,
I mean, yeah, what if you just take it back and forth between the cups?
like that.
Oh, yeah, you could shake it.
Or, well, I mean, this one fits into this one.
I was thinking, I don't know, like literally just transferring it.
We'll try a few different
You can't
methods.
like tape two cups together, right?
I don't think I have tape strong enough to do that.
You might think this is kind of dumb because we could just microwave it, but we really wanted to cook it on a stovetop instead of just cheaping out and using a microwave. I will say at this point, it's probably a good time for me to say that this is not something I recommend trying at home. We're going to be putting glass directly onto a stovetop, which obviously not all glass is meant to take that much heat. We did look it up, and the cups that we're going to be using should be perfectly fine for the stovetop heat. The first scrambling method I tried was just pouring the eggs from one cup into the other. I didn't think this would work at all since it didn't seem like the yolks would break. But
It's
while this did end up working, I was spilling eggs everywhere.
There's stuff all over the eggs.
So I tried a few different versions of shaking and turning the cups just to kind of eliminate how much egg I was losing.
Ugh.
Okay.
We probably lost an egg.
In the process.
Yeah. Just into the carton and onto the thing, but I mean that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
The eggs weren't fully scrambled. There was still some egg whites, so I just tried a few last things.
Okay.
I let my cat Tofu get his patented sniff test, and surprisingly, I had actually just successfully scrambled an egg using 2 cups. Of course, I wanted some sort of control set up, so I just scrambled some eggs normally. I didn't have a bowl, a glass bowl, I guess I should say, to scramble them in so that we could still see them, so I'm using Tupperware here. But I scrambled some eggs just to cook them normally on a pan on the stovetop, the way that God intended. That way we just have some form of baseline to compare the cup eggs to. I heated my pan until I got that nice light and frost effect. So now that it was ready, I just had to add some oil and add the eggs, and then they would be set up. I was actually doing this while the stovetop eggs and the cups were cooking, just to make sure that the timeline matched up. So it's not like these eggs just sat there for an hour. They actually were being cooked right about the same time that the other eggs were being finished up. For the stovetop cup eggs, I added a little bit of butter just to mimic some of the fat that I would be getting from the oil and the control. Forgot that I can't use a knife, so I grabbed my cup to scoop some butter into my other cup, which, as you can see, was easier said than done.
But can I just use my finger? Or are we saying literally no?
Those are your rules, man.
Can I use my finger No, okay, no, okay. This is what I'll do. I was gonna microwave it, but that's fine. I'm just gonna use my finger. That's all.
Ooh.
You booing me? Is on the lowest setting. I should have had this preheating for a while, but that's okay.
Obviously, in order to be safe, we had the stove on the lowest setting and it just backed away when it actually started cooking. We just wanted to make sure that we were nowhere near it if the glass for some reason did crack. From here, it just was a pretty long waiting game. I added my thermometer so we could at least track the temperature of it. As you can see, it started off pretty close to room temperature. But after about an hour and a half, we'd actually made some progress. It did seem like the edges of the egg were cooking, the edges that were touching the glass.
Oh.
Looks like most of it's cooked. It's gonna take probably another 5 minutes, but
A wash pot never boils.
yeah, it does. That's a lie.
My 5-minute estimate was completely off because by the time we actually had enough cooked egg that we could use with it, had been another 30 minutes. Since the eggs were cooked at a relatively low temperature, there was a lot of egg that was uncooked on the top, and if I waited any longer to fully cook that, the rest of the egg would dry out. As we started plating everything, or cupping, I guess in the example of the eggs in the mug, I sort of started to realize how much this was going to be like the dishwasher and dryer salmon video I just released. That if you're not great with textures, this is going to be a little bit rough for you.
It's like cheese.
That's not a good texture. That's gross. It's gonna taste fine, but that's gross. It looks like an abscess.
I also realized that I wasn't smart enough to non-stick the cup. So removing it was surprisingly difficult.
Dude, I can't get this off. Okay, this is just gonna be gross for a second.
Despite being cooked, the eggs were really wet. So even though I'm sure they were going to taste fine, it was starting to become, like I said earlier, a little bit of a texture nightmare.
All right, let me get a different cup.
So since I can't use any plates, and I still needed to scramble these eggs, I just started smashing it with another cup. This is cup number 9 at this point. I eventually just chopped them up as best as I could using a cup inside of another cup.
That's about as good as we're gonna get.
So I eventually just gave up and grabbed yet another cup and plated the eggs into that cup. I had unfortunately dried out the control eggs just a little bit, but they were totally fine for what I'm used to eggs being. They were going to be pretty bland since I hadn't added any salt or seasoning or anything, but I was still happy enough with them that I felt like they would still serve as a good control. So even though the control eggs were a bit dried out, you can see whenever we swap over to the cup eggs just how runny and wet they were. After yet another patented tofu sniff test, I'm going to question my life a little bit, and it was time to start digging in.
Tastes like scrambled eggs. That's fine.
The control eggs tasted absolutely fine. Like I said, they were bland, but after remembering that I can't use a fork,
I can't use the fork.
it was time.
I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty good.
Stop.
I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty good. Here, you can even use a fork. It's definitely like, if you don't like soft eggs, you're not gonna like it, but
Huh.
see?
That's not as bad as I was expecting. The texture is also not bad. It's not great.
No,
It's like halfway rubber.
yeah, it's definitely close to like a soft boil. Not soft boil, like a soft scramble. I don't know if you've ever had a soft scramble, but it's really not that bad. It's weird and it's very wet because not all of it's cooked, but I don't know. I think this is a success. There we go.
Inaugural success.
Yeah, the first one. That's true.
You know, maybe cooking really isn't that hard. It may have taken me like 35 cups, but I just cooked scrambled eggs using only cups and mugs, and it really wasn't that bad. And maybe my standards are pretty low considering the salmon I had just cooked in my dryer, but I'm definitely putting these eggs into the edible category. And I mean, this definitely isn't some sort of hack or anything that's going to make your life a lot easier. It's kind of dumb, and especially if you don't have glass that's capable of handling this much heat, it's kind of dangerous. But surprisingly, of the kind of weird ways that I've cooked food so far for this channel, this is definitely by far the least offensive cooking I've done yet. I mean, don't get me wrong, the texture was still pretty bad, but compared to cooking salmon in my dryer, this really was a success in my book.